Y'all will never know what color this hoodie actually is. Wanna know why? Because it's CGI. It's not even there in real life. I just trace my movement and then edit the hoodie in. And to be honest with you, none of this is real. I'm not in my bedroom. And what's crazier is, this is not even my voice. I actually don't exist, so you can go ahead and keep scrolling. Did you really think you just scrolled? The human brain is so easily tricked. Matter of fact, you're not real.
Nothing really matters.
Whoa, that was weird. Anyways, I told you this hoodie doesn't exist. I even told you that both you and I do not exist. I know it's a lot to take in, but I was just like you once, unaware of the
Simulation.
But some of you are still caught up on the color of a hoodie. So maybe I can convince you by bringing together something that's not real with a fellow simulator who you might be familiar with. Buckle up.
He's right. I'm not real either.
Do you believe me
Now, you should have listened when it's time to explain. This hoodie, myself, and this comment are all computer-generated two-dimensional images that you perceive as real. But reality and perception are two different things. I mean, I have human qualities that make you perceive me as real. For example, I can tell you that I'm 22 years old and I live in Florida, but that was information that I was programmed to learn by life experiences in the
simulation?
You ever wake up from a dream that was so vivid that you swear it could have happened in real life? That's you becoming like us, the aware, the
Simulators.
You'll believe me eventually, but for now, Elon Musk himself said that the chances that we're not in a simulation are 1 in billions. Think about it. 50 years ago, the best video game was Pong, which was 2 rectangles and a dot. 50 years later, our video games look like this. So imagine 50 years from now. Virtual reality could be so realistic that we won't be able to tell the difference between games and real life. But what I've been trying to tell you is, what if 50 years from now is already here, and we're already in a game? I mean, like I said last time, our video games went from this to this in 50 years. So think about 50 or even 100 years from now. We could simulate a world so perfectly that the characters start to think for themselves. Eventually, they'll start making simulations for themselves, and their simulations will make simulations, and so on. Now, if this could go on hundreds, thousands, even millions of times, statistically, the chances that we're in the real, original universe are 1 in millions. So the chances that we're in a simulated universe is pretty high. Let me put it this way. Imagine this. You're expecting your friend over for dinner, and they're 10 minutes late and not answering their phone.
You think to yourself, there's probably traffic, right? Or maybe they had to go back home because they forgot their phone.
Or maybe the simulation just hasn't rendered them in yet. I mean, your brain is coming up with situations that seem probable, but there's no proof of them happening. So how many other times does this happen throughout the day? Let's say you take a glass and you set it on a table. When you look away, the glass is still there, right? I mean, you just set it down. But what about the table you set it down on? That's still there too, right? And what about the room that the table is in? You just assume those things are still there. You don't know for sure. I know it's weird to think about, but when you're scrolling through TikTok, it looks like there's a never-ending list of videos. But really, the app is only simulating a never-ending list. In reality, before you scroll, there's nothing there. The next video doesn't actually load in until you swipe. It's just like the simulation we're living in now. Things don't need to load until we look at them. Here are 4 examples. First, when you place a glass on a table, it doesn't have to be loaded in when you're not looking at it. Secondly, humans have never reached the deepest parts of the ocean, so it doesn't have to be rendered in either. Thirdly, you'll never get to the end of this TikTok because it also hasn't loaded in. And lastly, how do you know that anything is real? Let's say you're gonna meet your friend for lunch at Chipotle, and you're assuming you're gonna meet at the one next to your house. But what you don't know is that your friend's at work and wants to meet at the one closer to them. If for whatever reason you were held at gunpoint and asked where you're meeting your friend, you would answer the Chipotle next to your house, because in your current reality, you're 100% sure that that's where you're meeting them, even though it isn't. So does this mean there's 7 billion realities, one for each person alive right now? And if there's that many realities, how do we know which one is real? Or maybe I should ask, some of you still don't believe we're living in a simulation. And I get it. I went from telling you this hoodie's not real to telling you that you weren't real. So maybe it's time to prove it. Your video wasn't paused, but you're telling me you believe something happened that didn't because you think you saw it happen. But you know for a fact we're not living in a simulation, right? To me, it's crazy that if we are living in a simulation, don't worry about what's outside of it. Think about it. When we make video games, we only put the most thrilling and exciting parts of real life inside the game. That means the creator that made the simulation that we're in only used the most exciting and thrilling parts of its world to make ours. Basically, outside of the simulation is really boring, and they for sure can't do this.